Welcome back to Gym Girls Unfiltered. So today we are talking about dating as a gym girl and kind of the struggles, the funny moments, and just the reality of it. But we wanted to start off, kind of give a little recap update of what's going on in our host live. So Caroline, what's up with you?
Yeah, so for me, still largely in my growing phase. I am actually switching coaches. I know I kind of teased it last episode, and I can actually finally announce it because I did sign with a new coach. So, starting in October, I will be with a new coach. For everyone who wants to know, no bad blood, no tea, no drama. I just see myself going very far in bodybuilding. And for where I want to go, I kind of just outgrew the team that I was with and kind of wanted new opportunities and new experiences. So I will be joining a new team in October. And then I did just have my check ins with my coach currently that I have now this morning. And we did up my food even more. And I was talking to her, and guys, it's insane. I weighed 115 pounds when I came to her, and I was eating 1,500 calories. I weigh 4 pounds less than that, and I'm eating 2,500 calories now.
That's
So it's
awesome.
really crazy. So that's a little update for me. I'm loving all the food, loving my training, and life's really good right now.
I guess a little update for me. I don't have much to update on. I'm still growing, of course. We're still waiting on my Dutch test results to come back. And then when we get those results back, we're going to go into like a little mini health phase, I guess you could say. But watching the pro qualifier this past weekend in Pittsburgh has me fired up. Just like not even to get that pro card or anything, but just to build the best person that I can be in the best physique and then compete again. I love the sport so much, and it just fires me up to see my friends succeed so much. So that's, I guess, my update. Nothing much.
I love that. Yeah, that got me fired up too. I'm still in my reverse diet, kind of getting close to, growing season now and eating more. So I'm feeling really good, kind of walking the line of that transition from being in bodybuilding prep and being post show. Cause now I think 6 weeks post show. No, like 5 or 6 weeks post show, which is crazy. And then of course I'm going to be going into a long growing season since we have a wedding to plan for next March. So that's really exciting. And leaving tomorrow to actually go like tour the venue and everything. So that'll be a fun weekend. But I've been really like kind of finding balance with lifestyle, growing some lean muscle, staying on track, but also having some travel and having some things coming up. So it's been really fun. And I don't know, I'm really excited for this next phase. So it's going to be really fun. But this topic of this week episode is we're going to be talking more about the struggles, the funny moments of dating as a gym girl. So I don't know, are there any thoughts, anything we want to start out with for this episode?
I think it would be a good idea to start off with like the challenges and struggles. Like, you guys are both engaged. Caroline, you've been with Carson now for 6 years, 7 years?
6.
6. And that's he was your first boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
Alani, what about you and Bradley?
It's been a little over 2 years. We just hit our 2 years.
What about you and Lane?
Lane and I have almost been together 2 years. We're like at a year and a half right now. But I actually had 3 relationships for him. And not to, like, this episode is not going to knock on anyone, but it just wasn't like good experiences or anything. And there's lots of struggles that I faced. And honestly, I would say the biggest thing was the guys just not understanding, like, hey, this is selfish and I need to be at the gym. I need to bring my meals. I have to go to bed early. And a lot of people just don't get that. And honestly, the sleep was honestly probably the biggest struggle for me. No, actually the sleep, but also like just going out to eat. There was like constant pressure of like, oh, we need to go on a date. Like, can we go on a date? And I was like, yeah, if I could bring my meal prep. And I would always just kind of get backlash for that. And I guess that was maybe the biggest struggle for me.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is it's like you don't have to be dating somebody that's, a professional bodybuilder. Bradley, my fiance, we competed together. What was it? A year ago, and it was really cool because he got to go through bodybuilding prep with me like while we were both in college. But I'm honestly like really glad that his whole life isn't bodybuilding, his whole life isn't the gym, that he can relate to it, because I think that is a big struggle. It is a different lifestyle. So I think, I don't know, it helps if you guys have like a similar lifestyle. If you're fitting in the gym, fitting in nutrition, fitting in all those different types of things, it's kind of more of like a value. So I think if you're with somebody where your values are a little bit different, I've definitely had that in the past with previous relationships. And that can definitely be a struggle if that doesn't like line up.
Yeah, I think the biggest struggle for me, when I first started my fitness journey, it's actually really funny. I was not someone who like ate healthy, was in the gym. It all started during COVID, like I've went over. And that was like kind of around the time I started dating Carson, and he played sports his whole life. He was a high school athlete. So he was like really into the gym. So he's kind of what motivated me to get into it. But then, like, as we started dating and I became so obsessed, it kind of like flipped. And it was like I was so addicted to the gym, and it was something that he just did as a lifestyle. And then as I did get into bodybuilding, I would say the biggest struggle is just the balance between like the extensive side of things that I do and then him just living it as a lifestyle, because there will be moments where he's like, I want to go out to eat. Like, I just want to go do something fun. I want to go grab a fun meal. And it's like, I am so rigid and strict and love to be on plan that I think that I, especially with my anxiety, and we did talk about this in a previous episode, it's like I'm always worried about making sure I'm in the gym, getting my workout in, making sure I'm checking off every single box, getting my steps, getting all of my meals, and having all of my meals prepped, like when we go away for a weekend trip. And sometimes he's like, Caroline, can you just like let loose a little bit and relax and enjoy life? And I think that that's just something that's hard to process for me. So I have a great support system, which does help, but I think that that is a struggle, is like learning that there are some times and moments where it is macros or memories over macros. And I do kind of need to, you know, pull back and realize that not everyone lives the lifestyle that we live.
Yeah.
Honestly, yes. Everything about what you said, 100% yes. I used to find myself in previous relationships, I would almost be embarrassed of like, hey, I need to bring my meal or I have to get my meal in. And I would honestly just like go all day without eating because I was just so scared of what they would think and what they would say. And that's only going to hurt my progress when I could be like, hey, I have to eat this meal at this time because it's going to help me fuel my goals, fuel my lift, and it's just what my plan is. But I would struggle so bad, and it was like almost just embarrassing. And it was a really hard time in my life. But when I started dating Lane, January 2024, I was actually in prep when I met him. And I honestly didn't have any choice but to be like, hey, I have to eat right now. And you're just going to have to accept that. And I think just my past relationships kind of taught me like, hey, when you go into this new relationship, explain yourself, explain what you do, and just go ahead and put that at the very start, because then like Lane had to just accept that. And if not, if he would have like walked away, I would have been like, oh well, like I know my value, I know my goals, and I have to do this, and I don't want to date anyone that's not going to support me. So like there are plenty of struggles, but you just have to hold yourself to a higher level and a higher value, and don't settle for anything.
Absolutely. I think what you said about that too, like those are your values. And like, I think it's something where as I've gotten older and as I've gotten like more confident as a person, it's like, you know, we're all 22. So I know when I was 18 and in a relationship or whatever it was, or even going out with friends, I would approach it differently because I would be like, you know, oh, woe is me. Like I am focusing on these things. I'm stressing about these things. But now that I'm more confident in my routine and I know that I'm doing this because this is something that I want to do. And I also know how to approach like lifestyle, like when we're, you know, going up with family, I feel like I have a good control of that balance. I think it's also helped my mindset. Like I don't show up to these events, or when I'm talking to Bradley, it's not like, oh, I have to do this. I feel like I've learned to bring a different energy where it's like, hey, this is something I get to do. And this is something that I love doing. And this is something that makes me feel in control, is eating for my goals and eating things that I genuinely enjoy and making these choices and getting in movement when I can. So I think a lot of that, for me at least, has come with just maturing a little bit and having a different mindset about it. Because if I'm coming to like a vacation or a dinner with friends or a dinner with Bradley and I'm like stressing about, oh my goodness, this is throwing me off track, then obviously everybody else is going to feed into that. And knowing that, hey, this is a choice that I'm making for myself, it doesn't have to do with anybody else. I don't know. I feel like that's at least helped me a little bit.
Yeah.
Another struggle I've experienced is people being like, hey, can't you just skip your workout today? Or like, do you really have to go to the gym today? And I think if you're with the right person, they will understand your goals. But sometimes it's like, yes, I have to go to the gym today, but this is what time I'm going to go. How about while I'm doing this, you can do something else and then we can hang out later. And it's just learning to kind of like almost compromise your time with the person you're with and just talk about like planning things. Because I think when we're single and like we're independent, we get into like this, not a selfish routine, but we're used to just like living for ourselves and showing up for ourselves.
Yeah.
But like, if you're wanting to date someone and you're serious about it, you kind of have to talk to them about your goals and even like invite them to the gym with you. That's a great way to spend the time together. Even if you don't work out together, at least like they're there at the same time. Lane actually joined my gym and like we'll go work out at the same time. We don't work out together or anything. And honestly, we'll drive different cars because I'm there longer half the time. But just like doing little things like that, and all it takes is good communication. And if they don't respect that, then it's probably not the person for you.
And honestly, that's something that I've had to work on. Like communicating that even with Bradley, we're engaged and we are so close and he really understands my lifestyle, and it is so helpful that he is so supportive of what I do and understands it. But it's something that I've had to learn. Like yesterday it was Labor Day and we were like, let's do a fun dinner. And I found myself kind of going into that spiral right now because since I am in a reverse diet and I am like really close to coming out of my contest prep, it's something where I was like, okay, I was almost stressing about it, but then I go back and forth of, hey, I need to be present and enjoy this time with Bradley that we have, right? I want to be able to enjoy this together. I want to spend this quality time. But then I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to go off track. And then I start to spiral, and he could see that because I was just like, yep, let's do something. And he's like, what's wrong? And he helped me to talk through it. And he was like, okay, why is this stressing you out? Then I was like, okay, I just need to talk about these things. And then we came to a compromise, like what you said, Kate, where it's like, hey, let's do something where instead of like a steak, and maybe I don't have room for that in my fats for this meal that I already pre-tracked. It's like we ended up doing, what was it?
Wasn't it like chicken?
Yes,
You did the chicken
we did
with
like chicken wraps. And then we air fried potatoes and made fries, right? So it's like we were able to kind of compromise and like work through it. He was like, hey, like, okay, what about instead of, because I was like, it stresses me out when we do this, right? And it's like day of, and I need to like move around my targets, right? So he's like, okay, well, let's plan it the day before. Let's do a fun dinner every Friday. And that way you can fit it into your targets. We have that quality time. So I don't know. It's kind of like that compromise, like you're saying, Kate.
Yeah. I think that is definitely the best way to put it, is finding that compromise, because like Carson's gone all day and he does really support my goals. And I think that something he's realized is the gym's my safe space and like my hobby and what I love to do. And for him, that's like golf. And so he's come to realization that like sometimes when I say like I'm going to the gym at this time, he's okay with it because he's like, that's where it's like therapy. Like I have fun, I enjoy it. And like that for him's the golf course. But back to what you were saying about compromise is like, if I have steps I have to get today, but instead of like going and walking on the treadmill by myself, I'm like, okay, when you get home, let's go for a walk. And another big thing with bodybuilders, and I feel like we can definitely all relate to this, and I don't know about you guys, you can speak for yourselves, but like we never ever eat dinner together at the same time. Like we always are eating different meals. We're never eating at the same time and stuff. So what we've kind of done is either we will like make the same meal and sit down at the same time, but I'll obviously measure mine out and he'll track his, or I'll just sit with him while he eats, or he'll just sit with me while I eat. And I think that a lot of people like think that's so unnormal, but for us it's like normalized. Like he got asked a few weeks ago when we were back at home, someone that they're family friends with was like, do you guys ever eat dinner together? And he was like, no. But I think a lot of people just don't understand that. And we just find other ways to spend time with each other. But we do at least try and sit down with one another, or based off of like my meal timing and the time he usually gets home, I'm usually eating my last meal. So while he eats dinner, I'll eat my last meal. So we might not be eating the same food, but at least we're sitting together.
And that's something that I've been, navigating as well. And I'm sure, Kate, like you're navigating this as well, is during prep, like we never sat down because like my timing is so rigid. Every 3 hours I'm eating this meal and it's very specific. And I'm like, it's a selfish time where I'm focusing on myself. And it's just something where it's like, okay, this is the time that I know that I'm doing that. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm in an off season, it is something that I'm like trying to be a little more intentional about. So that's something kind of like what you said, Caroline, is the other night, I already had all my meals like figured out for the day, but I was like, okay, when you make your dinner, Bradley, I'm going to wait to have that meal, and we're going to sit down and we're going to have our meal together, even if it's a different meal. So that's kind of like something that we've compromised on as well, is we have a fun dinner that we kind of schedule, we make it at home. And then we take our free meal together once a week. We'll go out to eat, enjoy that together. And then the other meals, I'm like trying to be better about just sitting down and taking that time and being able to eat together. But I don't know, Kate, what do you do?
I think it's kind of weird because I have 5 meals a day and then Lane only eats 3. But I've kind of figured out his schedule, and I don't even think that he knows that I do this, but I make sure to get all like my meal 1 through meal 4 in, and then around like 7 or 8 he always makes his dinner. So I'll save my meal 5, and we always like eat meal 5 together, his meal 3, and we watch a movie, and it's just like our little routine. But last night we were sitting here eating dinner together, my meal 5, and he what did he have? He had like a frozen meal that he had meal prep last week. Not that he meal preps or anything. He just happened to make it, and I put it in the freezer while we went on vacation this weekend. But he was eating it, and I was like, wow, I feel so guilty right now because I am eating cream of rice right now with a Ninja Creamy, and he's eating like pesto pasta with beef. And I was like, I just feel like I'm such a bad girlfriend because I never cook him dinner. Do y'all ever feel like that? Because I'm like a terrible girl.
Especially
all the
I'm,
time.
like, I'm so big on ingredient prep. So Bradley's like one night we're like, let's do tacos. I have my ingredient prep chicken. And he's like, I don't want to eat your reheated chicken. I'm like, all right. I'm just so used to it.
I tell Carson every week, I'm like, I'm making the ground beef and I'm seasoning it with paprika and garlic powder. And he's like, well, I want mine seasoned with this and this. And I'm like, no, this is how it's being made and you're going to eat it.
Well, I don't even season my chicken that I bulk prep because
Me neither.
Sometimes I put it in rice. Sometimes I put in my cream of rice with cinnamon. And he's like, I'm not eating that nasty stuff.
Yeah.
But he honestly is so good, and he is so appreciative of me just sitting down and eat dinner. And he'll tell me, he's like, I don't care. Like, he'll be like, what can I help you do to hit your goals? And girls, there are guys out like that. I promise. Do not settle. Like, it's hard, but I was in my head last night. I was like, wow, I'm such a bad girlfriend, but he probably doesn't even think twice about it. And sometimes like we will make a fun dinner like Alani and Bradley do, but like it does take planning, and boys are so last minute. He'll come up to me like in the afternoon, he'll be like, hey, you want to like cook burgers tonight? And I'll be like meal 4 in, I'm like laying like, you should have told me 5 hours ago.
I'm like, I need a little advance so that we can like
plan.
And all
that's just a guy thing.
Yeah, all you have to do is just plan ahead and communicate. And I've kind of told him like, hey, if you want to do something or go out to dinner, let me know ahead of time, not the day of.
Yeah, that's something that I like need to work on, is like honestly communication, because I'll just stress myself out and like not talk about it. And like, okay, if I just talk about this, like there's always a way to figure it out. That was another thing we did yesterday. I would recommend is we stopped by, where was it? Aldi. And they had chicken that was like already marinated. It was just chicken breast. So it was the same as me like doing a normal meal at home. And then we cooked a fun meal at home. That way I know I'm like hitting my targets. It's not like an off day or taking a free meal, but it's something that we cooked fresh. He cooked it on the stovetop. I air fried the potatoes. I don't know. It was kind of fun. So maybe if there's something last minute there, you can always like repurpose it.
Bouncing off what Kate said about how like Lane's really supportive, at the end of the day, I'm going to be completely honest. If who you're with isn't supporting your goals, I don't mean this in a negative way, but just rethink about like who you're with and who you surround yourself with, because we all have 3 amazing people in our life who do support us. And there are obviously challenges that come in every relationship, but without Carson, I probably would not be where I was today. And he is honestly so supportive of it. And what he says all the time is just, he's like loves how much self-value and like self-pride I do take in myself. And yes, I do go to some extremes, and like competing is a whole nother side of it. Living a lifestyle is definitely easier, but when it does come to prep, it's definitely so much harder. But he is so supportive of it, and he is always trying to, like you said about Lane, help me reach my goals, help me find ways to reach my goals. I have a free meal once a week, and I always just want sushi. Like, that's just what I want. And sometimes he's like, I want to get a burger, I want to get pasta, I want to get pizza. And I'm just like, I want sushi. And we always end up getting sushi. And his parents always make comments about like, they're cooking something and they're like, we know you have your meal. And they always talk about like, you're awesome, you have so much discipline, and like you strive to succeed. So it really does help when you have a great support system around you.
Yeah.
That's something else I want us to all touch on, what you just said, Caroline, about yeah, we date Lane, Bradley, Carson, whatever, but how do you guys approach like going to their family's house or like even vacations with their family? That's a big thing.
Absolutely. And that's actually something I was going to mention that you brought up, Caroline, because one of my clients was talking to me. I was doing like her weekly check-in, and she was like, I watch all of your YouTube videos, and I'm so lucky. For my show day, Bradley's whole family came.
Oh, yeah.
My parents came. And that's like the dynamic that we have. And they love this lifestyle. And they're also my clients, actually, Bradley's parents. So that helps. And I've been working with them on their nutrition for the past year. But anyways, I was talking to one of my clients, and she was like kind of bummed because she's like, I love your YouTube. And I was watching your show day video where you guys all took the Tito shot the night before. And she's like, I don't have that. And I think that bodybuilding can be a very isolating time too. So I told her, I was like, just remember that you're doing this for yourself and you're showing up for yourself, and lean into like, hey, I'm so excited to show up for myself every day. And you're going to find those people that do support you. So I think that that's something that does come with time. And I found Bradley, his parents are super supportive. And again, like what you said, Kate, how you're asking, like, how do you fit that in when you're seeing their family and when this is a new lifestyle for them? I think it really comes down to the energy that you bring, kind of like I was talking about earlier, being like, I chose to do this. This is something that I want to do. And then kind of finding that balance. But I think it really is about just like knowing that this is something that we chose and this is not something that we have to do. So I think that was a realization I needed to come to, is not being like, my life is so hard, I have to do these things, because we are choosing to do this every single day, and we don't need to make it anybody else's problem, if that makes sense. So I think it's just showing up with like that mindset around it has helped them kind of come into this world and understand where I'm coming from.
That's right. And honestly, like the biggest piece of advice I give is what you just said, but also like just suck it up, come prepared, and be ready to explain yourself, or not even explain yourself, but explain what you're doing. When people would like ask me like, what is that? Like, that looks so nasty. I would kind of shut down, and I would like, it would ruin my day. I would be like, okay, I'm not going to eat anything else in front of anyone here because I don't want to be confronted about what I'm eating or asked about it. But after working with Gabriel, my sports psychologist, he's kind of made me look at it in a different way. Take the opportunity to explain to these people like what you're doing and why you're doing it, because we're so passionate about it and it means so much to us. So why not take the opportunity to talk about it more instead of looking at it as something negative? Because most often it may come off negative, but it really isn't. It's just coming from a place of curiosity and honestly not knowing. But I'm also so lucky because Lane's parents and his whole family is like just all about what I do. And of course, sometimes I'll go over to their house and stay the weekend, and they're like, hey, we cooked this and this. Do you want it? Can you have it? And sometimes I do if I'm like taking a free meal, but sometimes I'm like, no, I actually already took my free meal, or I don't get that one this week, but I have all my food. So I will eat with you guys. Like, it's already prepped in the fridge. I just have to heat it up. And they'll be like, are you okay? Are you sure? But they're always like, okay, whatever you need. Do you need the microwave? Here's where the microwave is. And even when I went to Texas over the summer to see Lane, I spent a whole day with his family, and I was nervous about like getting my meals in, and I even took it into a restaurant with them because it was just me and them. But they are so supportive and just so caring and loving, and I'm just so lucky. And his dad always tells me, he's like, this means a lot to you, and like we honestly respect it so much. And now like his whole family will come up to me, ask me how I'm doing when I'm competing again. And I don't know, it's just very like fulfilling and feels good, because Kate, like 2 years ago, like I would have been so scared and I would have just avoided plans, which really overtook my life for a long time.
Yeah, I think for me, I have been dating Carson for so long, it like gradually, like it was kind of like the stepping stones up. So they kind of just got used to it over time. But like you were saying, like they'll always ask me if I want something, they'll always ask me what I need. But the more that they saw that I did it and like how cool it was and everything about it, and I did explain myself, like 2 summers ago, I actually put his dad on like a meal plan and he lost 40 pounds. So like that was really cool. And then like now his mom's really getting into the gym. So she's always asking me questions, always sending me food. And then his brother's really into the gym. So, and actually, I don't know if I told you guys, his aunt competed like years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
that was like having her to kind of like know what it is was definitely super helpful. But over time, they really just got used to it. And now they really do respect it and they like really value it and how disciplined I am and just support it 100%. I bring all my meals with me everywhere. I bring them to dinner. I brought them to a wedding. And like, I wouldn't say they really question it anymore because they just know what it's going to be.
Even like being in a growing season now this past weekend, some people were like, oh, well, do you really need to eat your meal because you're not in prep for a show? Like, why does it matter? And I just was like, well, actually, like, I don't have any show planned. I don't have a timeline, but I'm prepping like year round because this means so much to me and I love it so much. So I'm in a building phase right now. I need to eat a surplus of calories and I have to get my meals in. I can't let it build up. But yeah, I thought that was pretty neat for us all to touch on because I honestly feel like sometimes it's not even the person that people date that they have issues with. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just like the family and like the fear of the family.
Yeah. And I think like what you guys said, it's just like bringing them into our world, and not letting it kind of affect how you feel, but giving them like, this is so foreign to most people, bodybuilding, all of that stuff. So I think just giving a glimpse into it, like you said, Kate, and just being positive about it. And if people have things to say, just know that like we're doing this because of something that we're wanting to do, you know? So and keeping that mentality always helps.
What was y'all's biggest struggle in prep dating someone else? What would y'all say?
I would probably say being tired all the time and not wanting to do anything. And Carson was like, it's 2 o'clock and you're tired. And I think like being in prep and explaining yourself is a lot different than being lifestyle and explaining yourself because people who aren't in prep might not understand, but I think that my energy and my mood, you know, your mood, like you said, Alani, and you've been saying, like the energy you bring and the mood you have reflects on the people you're around. And so I do really think that on prep and low energy and low mood, it's definitely hard to deal with. Like I
It's
will admit that I was moody, I was tired, and it's hard to be around.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing too. Like social battery gets so low. I think the other thing was like me stressing about, like you said, Kate, it's like last year, I was really intentional about even when I was in prep, I didn't want to say no to plans. I mean, we were traveling almost every weekend, doing all of these super fun things. And like I said last week that you remembered, one of the things I tell my clients, Caroline, is that like, if you're living a life where there's nothing that gets in your way and nothing that throws you quote unquote off track or out of routine, that'd be kind of a boring life. So it was just learning how to, like Kate said, prepare for the weekend ahead, bring my meals if I didn't have a free meal, and just it was a lot of preparation that went into it. So I think like that would stress me out and be like, oh my goodness, like they're going to be so annoyed that I'm not able to eat out at dinner. But then I learned, hey, they don't really care. Like they just want you there. They want you present. So even though I had my meals with me at dinner because I was in prep for a show, it was fine. It was just, it took a little bit of extra preparation at the end of the day.
I have such a funny story to tell y'all. So I kind of wanted to branch this off of like, how do you handle like your relationship in prep when you can't like really go on a date night or dinner nights or like you're just in the trenches because you feel so bad. But me and Lane started dating at the start of my prep last year, and we went to Savannah, Georgia for St. Patrick's Day in March. It's like this big thing, like an all-day drinking event where everyone starts drinking at like 6 a.m. So I actually went with Lane because I was like, no, Kate, you've got to go. You can't say no. You can't isolate. So like I had packed all my food. I took everything with me. I had like mapped out gyms in the area. So it's like 6 a.m. that day, and everyone just gets up and starts drinking. I'm in a house with his sister and like 10 of his fraternity brothers, and everyone's taking shots. I'm over there like drinking my digestion drink that I drink every morning, and like I have all my meals ready for the day, and I went and sat in the heat. And you guys know, like when you're like getting stage lean, like the heat just absolutely does you in. But I stood out there all day, like ate my meals. Everyone was drinking all day, and then that night we stayed up until like 2 or 3 a.m. just dancing. and I was completely sober, of course, but everyone was like so drunk. But like, it just goes to show you, like, you can still have fun in prep.
Absolutely.
Honestly, me and Lane were talking last night. We're like, what was the best day of your life? And I was like, honestly, that time we went to Savannah when I was in prep. And like, you don't have to like do like normal things. Like, you don't have to go to dinner. You don't have to like drink when everyone else is drinking just to have fun and live your life. You can still live your life and be present in prep, out of prep, whenever. But you can still like show up and enjoy the moment and still hit your goals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just thought that was a funny story because I just
That is so funny.
Bouncing off of that, Kate, I went to a birthday party for one of Carson's family friends, and everyone was drinking, obviously, and I was on prep at this time too. And it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, you know what? Everyone's gonna be up till 2 a.m. F it. I'm cracking open an energy drink. So I cracked open a Dr. Bum, and I acted like I was sipping on a Dr. Pepper the rest of the night.
That is so funny. It's so similar to you guys. Like when Bradley and I met, I was 4 weeks out from a show,
That's
and
funny.
we met on a boat. This was down in Boca. Like I went to FAU for college, so that was like what we would do on the weekends. Everybody would go out, they would go drinking on the boats. We would all tie up together. I was in bodybuilding prep, but I didn't want to be a loser and I didn't want to be boring. So I would come anyways, and I would hide away my meals like in the corner of the boat of like the people that we were going with. And then I would have a Celsius with me, and everybody else was drinking their drinks. And I was just had a Celsius so that it kind of looked like I was drinking if you weren't looking closely. And then I would go and like have my meal in the corner real quick. But that's how Bradley and I met, is we were literally on the boat because we had mutual friends, and I was in prep. And that's what's something that's so funny too, is like we've been together for the past 2 years, and I've either been in bodybuilding prep or in a really structured off season. So this is a really new time for me where I'm like, we get to have a little bit more flexibility since I'm going into like my lean growth phase and having more flexibility with that. So it's so cool to be like, this is new for us, like being able to go out like normal people. So I don't know, it's gonna be fun to navigate over the next like year.
Yeah. I will say though, I think we can all agree there are struggles, there are ups and downs, but dating someone who supports your goals and goes to the gym with you is so much fun. I sent Kate a picture on was it Sunday? It was Sunday, yeah. And me and Carson, I was like, I think he went golfing on Saturday, and then Saturday night he like wanted to hang out, but my cousin, who I hadn't seen in 2 years, ended up coming over with her boyfriend. So we hung out with them in the backyard at my mom's. And I was like, you know what? Tomorrow morning we're gonna wake up, we're going to we got muffins from Paige. So I was like, we're gonna wake up, we're gonna drink coffee at home, we're gonna eat our muffin, and we're gonna go to the gym and have a little date morning. And like that was our date morning, and we went to the gym together and we hit a lift. And then I sent Kate like a really cute picture in the posing room, and I like jumped on his back. And like looking back, it's so awesome that we share that hobby together, because it's so much fun, and we like are both in there focusing on bettering ourselves, like working towards who we want to be and being the best version of ourselves. And it's so nice and rewarding to like for both of us even to just look at each other and be like, we work so hard together for what we have. And so like I cannot imagine dating someone who doesn't go to the gym.
No, it's so true. Because like even like I was saying, we're going up this weekend to look at our wedding venue. So it's going to be me, Bradley's parents, my parents. And we've already figured out like what gym we're going to, and we're going to all train together. And it's like so fun when all of the lifestyles come together. And like you guys said, it's like we get to do this. And it is so fun when, I don't know, it's like another little thing that we all get to do together.
Yeah.
And something special, I think, is like, I even know some people that are into the gym, but they date someone that doesn't go to the gym really. But like, it's almost like we rub off on other people, because when I met Lane, he was like super big into the gym, and then he like went to like an all golfer phase, and then I did my first prep, and then this summer he was like, hey, will you write me a workout plan? And then he's like slowly getting back into the gym. So I don't know, it's just like kind of special. But even if like they go to the gym or don't go to the gym, I think the most important thing is like how they support you and they're there for you. Alani, you came to my show, you know, Lane was there. He would not even let me carry my bag. He wouldn't let me do anything. And it's just like little things like that. They add up. So
it's the little things that show their support, because that was what was so different for Bradley for me, is he is the most supportive person I've ever known, you know. And even now when we did a show together, but this recent season, he was like, I just love, honestly, not competing with you and being there to cheer you on. And like you said, Kate, it's the little things of just like being there to talk through things when you get stressed out in prep, being there to like support you, being there to hold your bag. You know, it is really,
Y'all,
really
Carson hates being the center of attention, and I made him wear a shirt with my face on it to my
I love
show,
it.
and he did.
But it's like they don't even have to get it, but the fact that they want to try and that they care so much, that speaks so many volumes, and that's so important. So you guys that are listening, like if you're with someone that doesn't like totally get what you're doing and they're kind of like confronting you constantly, just take a minute, sit down and explain them to them, explain like how important this is to you, explain what you have to do. And that's my biggest piece of advice. And if they don't get it, then you might want to break up, but
Peace out.
but I don't know. I feel like everyone, like, it just takes a lot of communication, because previously when I was going through struggles with past relationships, I feel like if maybe I would have explained it a bit better, it would have been like a better situation. So maybe that's on me, but just
I think that's a big thing too, Kate, but I think what you just explained where you were like, you know, if they don't support your goals, peace out. I think that's like a really good piece of advice, low key, if you are dating someone. But if you're not and you are big into the gym and that's what you love to do, make sure when you are looking around, when you are dating, find someone who you click with, who does support your goals, who does go to the gym. Like, find a relationship that does fit you. Don't give up on yourself and your value and your goals for someone. Find someone who fits into what you are already doing, and it will be so much better.
don't hide your goals or what you want to do, because I did that for so long. I hid my Instagram page. I hid
Yep.
that I wanted to compete in a bikini competition. I hid it for so long. And then when I was like in my previous relationship, when it ended, I was like, okay, I'm going to be so honest with the next person I date and go ahead and put it on the front line, because like hiding it just stressed me the freak out, and it was hurting me inside and it was hurting my relationship. But if you just go ahead and you would be like, hey, this is what I do. These are my goals, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to need you to support me and understand, like, I have to be at the gym at this time. Sometimes I have to get 5 or 6 meals in a day. And most often, like, if you just put it on the front line, like, they just know it from the beginning. You don't have to even worry about it.
Yep.
Yeah, just stay true to yourself, and those people are going to find you too. You know, it's like you become the people you surround yourself with. So stay true to yourself. Don't feel guilty for, you know, if you feel like you're different, just keep showing up for yourself and you're going to find your people.
Yeah, but I think this was a really special episode, and I think it's something that people don't really talk about enough. Bodybuilding is very isolating, but it doesn't have to be a lonely sport. You just have to find the right people to support you.
Yep.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it better myself. Well, I think this is a great episode. That was really, really fun. We will see you guys in the next episode. Of course, we are dropping every Monday morning, bright and early at 5 a.m. So we'll see you guys next week. And let us know if there's anything specific you want us to talk about. Leave a comment on our YouTube, or you can send us a message. But we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.